The Stafford Voice.
Profiles in history. He later recalled as the Declaration of Independence was being signed, quote, "I was determined to see how they all looked as they signed what might be their death warrant. I placed myself beside the Secretary, Charles Thomson, and eyed each closely as he affixed his name to the document. Undaunted resolution was displayed in every countenance." William Ellery was born on December 22, 1727, in Newport, Rhode Island. His father, William Ellery Sr., was a Harvard graduate who educated his children at home. At the age of 15, Ellery began attending Harvard, where he would graduate at the age of 20. And upon graduating, he would return to Newport, where he first worked as a merchant and next as a customs collector. And it wasn't until he would work as a clerk for the Rhode Island General Assembly that he would find his stride. In 1750, he married Anne Remington. However, in 1764, she would pass away. He married 3 years later to a woman by the name of Abigail Carey, who would pass on in 1793. Combined, Ellery would have 19 children in total. At the age of 43 in 1770, he started practicing law, also becoming active in the Rhode Island chapter of the Sons of Liberty. On May 14, 1776, William Ellery was selected to fill a vacancy in the Continental Congress, brought about by the death of Samuel Ward. He would continue to serve in this capacity until 1785. On August 2, 1776, he stood next to Secretary Charles Thomson as the other delegates signed what he considered to be a death warrant before signing his own name. Now, in terms of size, Ellery's signature was second to that of John Hancock. Later, he would also be one of the signers of the Articles of Confederation. Now, during the war, the British invaded Rhode Island, even occupying Ellery's town of Newport for almost 3 years. While there, they burned his home and destroyed other property he owned. After the war, at nearly 60 years old, he would be forced to start over. Upon retiring Congress in 1785, he found himself becoming an abolitionist, as he was a strong, vocal advocate for the abolition of slavery, even supporting Rufus King's legislation to forbid slavery in any states to be formed in the Northwest Territory, which would later become Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. His retirement in 1785 from Congress would allow him to stay closer to home, where George Washington appointed him collector of customs for the city of Newport, a job he did for the next 3 decades. Also, during this time, William served as a judge of the Supreme Court of Rhode Island. Being visited by the doctor, he had a little trouble reading Ellery's pulse. It soon strengthened, and in typical Ellery humor, he replied, "Oh yes, doctor, I have a charming pulse." The mood, however, turned serious when he said, quote, "But it is idle to talk to me in this way. I'm going off the stage of life, and it is a great blessing that I go free from sickness, pain, and sorrow." Later that day, on February 15, 1820, he was found sitting upright in bed, clutching a book of Cicero, as if he had just fallen asleep. He was 92 years old, and was the second oldest of all of the signers, having been outlived by only Charles Carroll of Carrollton. And that is our Profiles in History.